And welcome back to the Underdog Jets podcast once again with Wayne Chrebet. And we have our two Super Bowl teams. We have Aaron Rodgers talk, Lamar Jackson, although that's fading rather quickly. Derek Carr, who's going to be the quarterback, Nathaniel Hackett. It's been a while, Wayno. What's going on?
Not much. Like I said, watching these games yesterday to see who's gonna make the Super Bowl. Wish it was us, but it seems like it's gonna be a good one with the Chiefs and the Eagles.
Yeah, Eagles, they got a ton of talent. And, it's starting to feel as though they're sort of the new villains of the NFL. Don't you get that sense with the quarterback or with the head coach nodding his head at the cameras and just how much talent they have and their fans, the obnoxious fans they have? It just feels like they're the new villains, taking the reins over from the Pats a little bit.
Just based on people said going into the playoffs, they were the only head coach quarterback combo that hadn't had a playoff win. But yeah, I
That's
don't mind
true.
them. I mean, Philly fans are what they are, just being a New Jersey, New York native. But, I just saw on social media that they're greasing up the poles so they wouldn't be climbing on them. And then they were standing on the top of bus terminals and they fell through it. So they're going to find a way. But, yeah, it's they have a good team. I'm going to root for the Chiefs. Based on the AFC and based on a non-Philly team. But it should be a good game.
And you see the Empire State Building, all that noise from yesterday when the Eagles won the Empire State Building, lit their building up in Eagles colors, green and white, and made it clear that it was Eagles colors, and New York lost its mind.
Yeah, well, I was listening to Talk Radio saying something like the old Barstools person is doing social media now, trying to do something. I don't know. Whatever reason they did it for,
Money.
I was saying, oh, it's not going to work. Listen, I think it was like 50,000 likes on the post. So whatever the attention they wanted from posting that, they got. Congrats to them.
Yeah, they certainly got it. Nick Mangold, what did he say? We're not friends anymore. To the Empire, he's talking to the Empire State Building, as only Nick Mangold could, obviously. But
you know what though? They were saying earlier, I bet you if the Eagles win and they do it again, that people from Philadelphia will go to New York and go up in the Empire State Building because of that.
it's true.
That's how
Yeah.
people are. Yeah,
It's true. In a lot of ways, it's a genius move. I mean,
yeah.
it really is,
It's like that guy in that one game, the DoorDash or Uber Eats guy, walk like right on the court trying to deliver food.
Yes.
Like, based on that incident and the post how it went viral, I'm sure tons of more people are ordering DoorDash and Uber Eats. All that stuff works, man.
Yeah. There's no such thing as bad exposure, right? Bad press.
No such thing. So where are we at with this quarterback search?
Yeah, what do you think about Aaron Rodgers off the top?
I mean, he's one of the best to do it. I still think he has years in him. On Tiki and Tyranny, they were talking about what has to happen for us to get them, and it seems like every reason they came up with points to us being able to get him. From does he want to redo his contract? Does he want to play this year? To do we have an owner that's willing to pay for him? To all these different things, and he checked all the boxes. And I see a strong argument why he will be the quarterback of the Jets next year.
Yeah, I see it too. And he was on McAfee's show last week, I believe. Saying things that it makes people excited that maybe he's thinking Jets. And the reports have come out that the Packers have interest in trading him, and it'll only be an AFC team. He gets along good with Zach, and if you think about it, that's a perfect situation for not just the Jets with Rodgers, but Rodgers and Zach. A couple of years left.
Yeah.
Keep Zach, see if he could, let Rodgers be the mentor. It kind of works in a lot of ways.
Yeah, that was two other reasons. One, they're willing to separate him and the Packers, and the other one would he want to come play in New York?
Yeah, he's a West Coast dude,
else, like Vegas or something. Right. I know he's from the West Coast, but why would you not want to come play for New York? For that owner, for that coach, for that coordinator, for that defense, for those receivers, those all reasons add up.
And he saw Brett Favre do it, and he saw Brett Favre get treated like a king as soon as he came. They gave him the key to the city. It didn't end well because Favre got hurt, but he was treated extremely well.
I think that Aaron Rodgers has a lot more in the tank than Brett Favre when he came to us at
Yeah,
that point in his career.
I agree because the NFL takes care of the quarterback a lot more these
Yeah,
days too. And Favre played in the '90s, got beat up, and speaking about taking care of the quarterback, Mahomes, the late hit, we now know it's the Eagles and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I was rooting for Cincy because I always root for the fan base that has not yet won a championship.
right.
And since he's been there, but they haven't won a Super Bowl, and I just wanted to see them get over the top. I like Burrow, but such a shame that the game ended that way. I don't think it was as egregious as people think. The late hit. It is so hard to ask these guys. They're going full tilt pursuing to ask them to stop. First contact happened right when Mahomes stepped out of bounds. It wasn't crazy.
It was you had to throw the flag. I know that you don't want to have refs take control,
I know.
but it's you can't extend your arm. If you had it like that, but as soon as you extend your arm, I mean,
I
you
know.
got to call it. I said I was watching the game with my son and my wife. I'm like, Mahomes is going to take off. If he wants the ball in his hands, he's going to make a play. And he could have went out of bounds, and he tried to get that extra yard, and the guy made the play. But I feel bad for the guy. He's sitting on the bench, he's crying, and teammates are yelling. One was consoling him.
BJ Hill. Yeah.
And he has 9 months till he gets back on the field to redeem himself. So I feel bad for the guy, but it is what it is. It's a penalty.
Listen, it is definitely a penalty. The way they call it in today's game. I can't let it go. Like it wasn't as bad as people think is my only point. And would I have gone crazy? Would I have liked it if the ref said, listen, officials, we lay down the law, we go by the rule book, but in certain situations, you gotta sometimes swallow the whistle and realize, hey, if we call this, it's gonna decide a championship. So maybe we shouldn't. I would have been okay if they went that route as well.
Yeah, well, there's no such thing as a little bit of a penalty or a lot of a penalty. It's not like running into the kicker or roughing the kicker, but he sold it. You know what I mean? He went flying.
He sold it too. He did. Yeah,
he did sell it, but that game wasn't lost on that one play.
It wasn't. I'm just struggling with it.
Yeah, I feel bad for the guy. I mean, you want everything to be like come down to just talent versus talent, coaching versus coaching, who makes the plays, but to come down to something like that, it's tough. But it is what it is.
Yeah, New York Jets super fan. What does he say? Kev, I don't know if Rodgers has a no trade clause. He does not. I'm pretty sure, but it's pretty common knowledge around the league that the Packers will work with him in terms of a trade.
They both want to work together on this.
Correct.
It's not going to be as bad as when Favre left. This is not amicable, but it's like I want to move on. I want to chase another ring. You want to see what you have in Jordan Love, and our relationship has run our course.
Yeah, and the contract too. Like that contract makes it so they have to work together.
Hers not as bad as we would expect it to be based on the amount of the contract.
No, for the Jets, it would be fine because the brunt would be the Packers having to pay the guaranteed money.
Yeah.
But for the Jets, the salary per year wouldn't be that bad.
Woody doesn't care, man.
Woody's
willing to pay to make the team better. He's the top option. And then you have to put it in the hands of Joe Douglas. Can he make the numbers work? And I believe he can. I believe Woody would pay. So I'd love to see him in New York. But this whole, I don't know how I feel about Namath saying if it would help, he would unretire 12.
Yeah.
For Rodgers to wear it for him to come there. I don't know how comfortable I am with that.
That would be opening a Pandora's box right there.
What's that?
That would be opening Pandora's box right there.
Yeah, that would I don't think diehards would want that, but good for Joe putting it out there to show how bad we want, franchise quarterback like that.
Yeah, I think Rodgers, the perfect scenario is Rodgers says, "Thanks, Joe, but I'll roll with a different number."
Yeah.
LaFleur. We haven't spoken since Mike LaFleur you know, is now with the Rams. What'd you think about that situation? Do you think the Jets handled it the right way? The only thing I didn't like, and I don't know if this is the case or not, I don't think it is, but the only thing I don't like is how much noise was made in a way where it's possible that Douglas and Saleh felt pressure or weren't leading the charge in making that decision, and they felt like someone had to go. The performance, I understand now that he's not with the Jets and they hired Nathaniel Hackett. Let's get your thoughts on that too. But the whole thing with the offensive coordinator.
Well, towards the middle end of the year, just based on just simply not putting up points, bad play calling in the wrong situations, and no red zone off. I mean, I started saying I don't ever want to see someone lose their job, but I think he needed to go. I think he'll do fine in another place with another quarterback, with another, great playbook, but just not good play calling. So wish him the best, but definitely needed to change. And I don't think even having a franchise quarterback coming in, it wouldn't have worked. So yeah, they decided to part ways. He didn't get
Yeah.
fired. They treated it the right way. Salah has history with him. So I wish him the best, and we'll see what happens with Hackett.
Hawk says Aaron Rodgers seems like the must-have at this stage. He checks all the necessary boxes, including the win now potential and the fact we don't have to give up on Zach just yet. Yeah, it's perfect in a lot of ways. The only tricky spot is this. No one knows if he still wants to play, number one. And number two, do Jets fans feel comfortable in going the entire offseason without making that move? It might not happen until around the draft or even after the draft. So
Well,
you
yeah,
put all your eggs in that basket.
I feel like they'll need to know before combine draft time, and it's they just have to decide to just tell me you're our guy.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't keep a team waiting. But another reason people are like, oh, he's only going to give you 1, 2, 3 years at most. To listen, even if he's there that long, they're going to be better. Those young guys are going to get playoff experience. All the good things are going to happen. Another reason you want to bring him in, there's going to be a lot of veterans. They're going to be willing to take like 80 cents on the dollar to come play with that guy and come play in New York. So people are going to follow him. Good veteran players are going to follow him, and that's just going to make the team better as a whole.
Hawk also says, Robbie, you did some videos, Zach's rookie year, breaking it down. Very high in his tape. I mean, that first preseason, he looked good, confident.
Yeah.
I wonder if you feel the same as I do, that with Hackett, he could click back to what we saw then. I think he could click back to what we saw with a number of different guys. Will a real good quarterback coach help? Yes, but more than that, he just needs to get his mind right. Like, that's my main thing. Get his mind right, get momentum, get confidence, and that's the type of coach he needs. And I hope Hackett's that guy.
Listen, when you come out and tell your teammates and everybody else in the world that you have no confidence in your game, that's bad. I'm not saying he can't get it back. And
It's very
we
concerning.
looking at the situation, last night. I mean, these guys waited their turns, and Mahomes and got that experience and matured. Would it help? But is he going to get back on the field if we get Rodgers for a year, 2, 3 years? What are you going to do with his contract? You know what I mean?
Let's see this year. Kev Chatter. Refs favored home teams to Super Bowl. One like in Mahomes and Andy going against the Eagles. Andy going against the Eagles is a great story. The two Kelsey brothers, great story, but there's no rigged games or anything like that. That's one thing that drives me nuts when I hear that stuff.
Yeah, you could go and look at the replay. The guy tried to the clock was running after a incomplete pass. They got a redo. The block in the back on the punt. Listen, They missed calls. They made calls. It didn't come down to one play, one penalty, but sometimes you get those calls. But we've had years we're the home team in New York and we get no calls. So that's a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, and listen, naturally, just the way the human mind works, sometimes the home team does get the calls, and it's not intentionally done. But yeah, it was poorly officiated. I thought the second game was pretty good, and I called it out on Twitter up until that mulligan play where they gave him a second, third down, and once that happens, it was just downhill from there.
Yeah.
First game was horrible, and then the whole
Yeah.
fourth quarter was horrible in the second game.
Well, that's the thing. Like, even on that replay, they didn't get the third down. Anyway, on the redo, but then he had the
Holding.
holding. But it's just like it just my dog's back. It just deflated the Cincinnati crowd and the Cincinnati team. Like, oh, we stopped them. And even though they get it back, it just changed, man. It just changed the environment there and just the confidence, that swagger they had going, knowing they were going to get the ball, driving a win. So it changed a lot.
It did.
And it's weird because they said it was too loud for them to hear the whistle, which is usually when you're an offense team on the road. You don't usually hear that much crowd noise for a home team. You know what I mean? So I don't know how loud it was there.
Remember back in the day before the radio helmet with the quarterback, the refs would have to stop the game and tell the crowd to quiet down.
Yeah, the 15-yard penalty if you don't be quiet.
Yes. Yeah, the road quarterback he couldn't hear, no one could hear anything. So he'd get up, look at the ref, and they'd stop the game and tell the stadium it's going to be a penalty if you don't shush up. That's what led to the mic in the helmet with the quarterback.
That's the worst thing you could do. The more more you say it, the louder they get.
Yes, yeah, they're going to stop being quiet. Get out of here.
That's nonsense.
Verge Tibbs, I'll be happy with a full off season with Carr. I mean, that's the other option here. Listen, Lamar Jackson, I think it was a pipe dream. I never thought Douglas would go down that route. You have to change your offense totally. I'm a huge Lamar Jackson fan. He has done things in this league that I have all the respect for him in the world. How he handles himself on the field, off the field. Man, he has proven everyone wrong. But if you go that direction, I don't think people realize how drastically different it is for an offense. You have to bring in an offensive coordinator who does the same things Greg Roman does. What Greg Roman did for him is nothing short of astounding. And Garrett Wilson would not be happy. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, listen, they had to throw that name out there. You want to give up 4 first-round picks? No. You could get Rodgers for a first. Listen, I listen to talk radio. I read the podcast. They had to throw that name out there. I heard Cooper Rush. I heard Gardner Minshew. I heard Taysom Hill.
Garoppolo.
I mean, just they're going to throw names out there. That was the juicy one, but it makes sense that Carr or Rodgers is a great option. Garoppolo gets hurt, so I don't think that makes sense.
That is a big problem. Would you go with Rodgers in exchange for a first rounder or Carr if you got him for free? Which one would you go for?
I think Rodgers is
Me too.
Step above Carr.
Me too. I'd give up the first rounder in a heartbeat.
Listen,
Rodgers.
If he's not doing it where Devontae Adams and Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow and Josh Jacobs, you know what I mean? That says a lot.
Carr's in the Cousins class to me, and I like Carr. It's just when you can get a guy who's that much of a difference maker like Rodgers, you go get him if you can.
Yeah, I think Carr, is younger, but I don't want to say you just need a guy who's just not going to F it up. But at this point, what kind of year would have had if
a hell of a year? Yeah,
someone like that,
Yeah, they would have been, to your point, just a guy not effing it up. They would have had a hell of a year.
Yeah.
Mike, I feel very confident it'll happen before free agency. He said he won't do that to his teammates, the organization, etc. He's talking about Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, I mean, it could. It could. But worst case scenario, they may have to wait, but we'll see.
Yeah. I think another thing is, you're saying, oh, we got to give up a first and this and that. If we're winning, that first round pick's going to be in the 20s. So you're not giving up like a lottery pick, like a top 5 pick for Rodgers. If they win, it really doesn't matter. It's worth it to give up a number 20 pick or 25 pick or whatever it's going to be.
Yeah, and don't be fooled by this roster. This roster is as talented as it gets. And people get fooled because if you don't have a quarterback and you're 32nd out of 32 teams at the quarterback position,
Yeah.
it's gonna drag everything else down. So don't be fooled by that. They are ready. They are right there.
Yeah. You don't want to ever say, they're one player away or they're one this. This is the big one. They get this one and they can fill the other holes and backups and hopefully some guys come back healthy. This is a big piece that makes you a competitor. Listen, every year it's going to be Mahomes in there and Burrow in there and
And
Josh
Burrow.
Allen and like Herbert's going to move. I mean, this puts us on level with those teams as far as quarterback play.
Are you starting to feel bad for the Buffalo Bills fan yet? In terms of they just can they can never get a break
Yeah.
in the playoffs. They just can't get it done, even if their team is favored, the best. Are you starting to feel bad? Just a little piece of you?
Um, I don't know. I like some of the guys on their team, but I mean they're AFC East team, so certainly can't root for them. So no, I don't feel bad.
Yeah. Bills Mafia. Oh god, they can't catch a
Hey,
break.
shit, I don't have to go up there anymore, so I don't care. They're not gonna
True.
give me a hard time. I can say what I want.
You could say I set you up. Well, you
Yeah.
just had to smack it home there.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, I wanted Cincy because their fan just hasn't had one yet. But we get Philly, we get KC, and Philly suddenly, my goodness. I felt like Philly and KC too, to a degree. Like their fans were kind of like brothers to the Jets fan. Never winning, not never winning a Super Bowl, but KC hadn't done it since Super Bowl 4. Philly had never done it. And over the last 5 years, they each have one now, and they kinda left the Jets fan in the dust, so now they're kinda spoiled, rotten fan bases.
Yeah,
Uh,
I just what are we 12, 13 years, no playoffs.
yeah, yeah,
12, 13 losses in a row versus New England. We got a lot of bad streaks to end. But I have a feeling once we end them, that the streak's going to go on the positive side. I think we get to the playoffs this year with that talent and getting some experience. We're going to be a perennial playoff team, playing for a championship every year.
yeah. I agree too because everything it just we're getting fooled. 2 years ago last year was the quarterback, 2 years ago, the injuries, we're getting fooled. The talent is so much better than we actually even think, I believe.
Yeah, I just like I said, the defense was really good. I mean, it kind of like wasn't towards great towards the end, but when you're playing with, on the field, 60, 70% of the game and no break and all these different things, a good offense is only going to make them better. It's
Yeah.
seriously, I don't know how people realize that. If you just give them a chance to rest and confidence and know, like, if we give up one or two big plays, we're not going to win. That less stress, they're going to be even that much better.
Early Super Bowl pick. We'll probably do a show next Monday too before the Super Bowl, but you got early thoughts on the Super Bowl. I think Eagles are favored by 2, the opening line.
Um, well, I don't know. I mean, who's offense? Like, you think about it. I mean, Hurts is not the elite though. You got Goddard, you got AJ Brown, you got Devontae, you got Miles
Devontae.
Sanders. Who's the receiver? I mean, you got Kelsey, but who's going to make the play
That's
at receiver for the
that
Chiefs?
that's the problem, I think. I thought Cincy would have been a tougher matchup for Philly because Philly is so strong inside, like their interior lines. I mean, they're great on the edge too, but inside they're really strong. And I wanted to see a team with outside studs, tall studs like Higgins and Chase
Yeah,
to make them play different defensively. And Casey doesn't have that. So they could put Gardner shoot, I forget that safety's name for Philly all of a sudden. But that stud safety for Philly, put him right on Kelsey and double Kelsey, and I think it's a good matchup for Philly.
yeah. I would double Casey all day
Yeah.
and just try to let those guys beat you. So I don't know. I think I don't see it being as high of a scoring game as you might think. And it's another game that's going to come down to the final possession, I
Yeah,
believe.
probably.
Who's on the market right now? I mean, what's the biggest position of need besides quarterback? Definitely need a safety, some more O
Safety,
line. Yeah,
O-line.
Corey Davis will be gone,
I
so
think so. Yep.
we still need a receiver or two. I thought we were 4 deep, 5 deep, but as it turns out, it's really Garrett, a little bit Elijah.
They
Braxton might be gone. Corey Davis
yeah,
might be gone.
they could save, I think, around 5 million if they cut Braxton, 10 million if they cut Corey. So I think Davis is gone. I've seen a mock where if they have the first round pick, the 13th overall, someone had him. Maybe it was Kuiper had the Jets drafting that Ohio State receiver. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce his name.
Yeah,
Maybe someone could put it in the chat, but he's good. But I think going O-line with that 13th pick, as long as it lines up, O-line or edge, I think are the two, and then try to get a safety in the second or third round.
yeah. I
Tight
think
end even
that
too. I mean, they could use an explosive tight end, like a game changer, if it's possible.
the tight end. I like our tight ends.
I
I
do
think
too.
for what they need to do, but I mean, Joe Douglas comes with the line, offense, defense line.
Yeah,
So that's glaring. I hope Becton can come back
that's
somewhat
huge.
healthy, but that's such a iffy question. So yeah, I think you go after a big lineman, a franchise lineman, and then you find your safety. I don't know who's out there in free agency, but at receiver, I don't know. Like I said, they're not as deep as I thought they were.
No, they're gonna need a receiver.
Yeah.
And I do like their tight ends too, but I'm saying if something lines up where you can get a game changer,
Yeah.
that's the only spot.
Hold on one second.
Yeah. But yeah, tackle, guard. I mean, Becton and ABT being out, that's just they only had ABT for 7 games this year.
Hold on.
Yeah, it's
What's
all
up?
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so fans, jetsxfactor.com. Give us a nice rating and review. My computer's blowing up. I don't know if you guys could hear those notifications, but give us a nice rating and review at iTunes. Download JetX Mobile from the App Store and use discount code 80 for a membership. Our off-season simulator just got released last week. We've had a lot of people playing it, signing up.
Yeah, I saw
And
that. That's pretty cool.
yeah, you know what? One of our shows, like we did last year, we'll go through the simulator, me and you, and construct the team for a nice show. One of these off season shows.
It says Wayne Chrebet, I think our young pups about to win offense and defense rookie of the year. Didn't that happen already?
No, it didn't get. I don't. It's coming
Or
up.
did it come out like some
Honors. So
publication came out? Yeah.
yeah, NFL honors will be this weekend, the weekend before the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The same weekend of the Pro Bowl, the flag football Pro Bowl. By the way, you excited for that?
No, I would have liked to say I was a Pro Bowler, but I would have played in a freaking pickup game at the park to say I was made the Pro Bowl team.
Didn't you go down there though? Didn't you go to Hawaii for?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Vinny,
you went to
when Vinny made the Pro Bowl, I guess it was '98. He felt I should have made it, so he took me and my wife, and we went down there, and I hung out on the beach with his family and my girl while he was there practicing. But it was
I thought you were in one of those. I forget what it was. Skilled competition or
no, I've done those at the Super Bowl. Go down
a Super Bowl. Okay.
Flag football and all those different different kind of events.
Yeah, legend game. Something I remember. I thought it was Hawaii too, but I guess not.
My claim to fame: I picked off Randall Cunningham twice.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
Randall.
being a Giant fan growing up, that was a big highlight.
Randall. Buddy Ryan was a pain in the ass for Giants fans back in the day.
Yeah. So in the hotel, adjacent to the Giant Stadium, Parcells was convinced that Buddy Ryan was on the top videotaping his practices.
Was he really?
Yeah. So he used to put, like, at some point in practice, he'd put like the punter at quarterback, the receiver here, and like make stupid looking plays in case they were watching.
That's freaking funny. Joe Pekulik, what's up, Wayne? Loved watching you play. You are a true professional and leader. Do you think we get a rebound season from Mims or Elijah Moore? And that's another thing, folks. Elijah Moore, I said at the time, I hated it. the moment he requested that trade after the win over the Packers, they went from 4-2, beat Denver, went to 5-2, and then it was kind of just downhill from there. But what do you think about Mims and Moore?
So Berrios might be gone. Corey Davis might be gone. So who's our top three right now?
Garrett,
Obviously.
Elijah Moore.
Yeah,
You got
yeah.
Mims.
So they do need a receiver. I guess more than I thought.
If they get rid of both Berrios and Davis, yes, for sure.
Yeah. And I don't see Berrios taking a pay cut because he just signed his contract.
Yeah.
And do they want Corey? I mean, is it worth enough for Corey Davis? You know,
I think the only way he returns is if they restructure, and I don't know if that's going to happen.
You look around the league with some of these teams. You need a one, but you can have, by committee, the second, third, fourth spot.
Yeah.
So I think would be fun.
It would be nice if Mims could develop because he'd be the perfect body against, opposite Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson, that tall guy on the outside.
I still like the pick. When they drafted him. Just another guy that needs not a new environment, but a new system, new coach. There's a new receiver coach. With Miles Austin gone, that might help. New coordinator. So, this could be a rebirth for him.
Yep, new O-line coach. It's going to be and listen, Nathaniel Hackett, he was terrible this past year in Denver as a head coach. He was awful.
Some guys are better coordinators than head coaches sometimes.
Exactly. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers had his best years with Nathaniel Hackett as OC. He didn't call the plays in Green Bay, but people forget he called the plays in Jacksonville, the stint before that, when he had Blake Bortles, and that team rushed the hell out of the ball. It was a great rushing team and got to the AFC title game. So, he's been pretty good. And you obviously are familiar with his father.
Not good. Yeah.
Paul Hackett.
Got nothing to say.
What's that?
I have nothing to say.
Nothing to say. I didn't even know how you'd respond to that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Nothing. No familiarity, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
So, hey, maybe it is Aaron Rodgers or bust, but we'll see. Nathaniel is his own man.
Yeah. Listen, I've heard people say, why would you bring in a guy that obviously didn't have a good record? Russell Wilson, did terrible. Like I said, some guys are better just being coordinators and running, and he might be one of them. I'm not saying he can't be a coach again, but look at Todd Bowles. Nice guy. It just didn't work out, but a hell of a defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Raheem Morris. He was, just not they're not ready. It's just different.
Mm-hmm.
And when a coach could, like, if something happened with Salah or this guy, they're just geniuses when it comes to that position. And sometimes it's difficult.
Motivation.
Yeah.
Motivation, relationships, all that stuff.
It's just different. So I think Hackett will do more than fine. You get Rodgers there and some of those weapons, you get Brees back. I feel like he'd completely go from a bottom 10 to a top 10 offense.
100%. One last thing I just thought of. There are some, and when I say some, a handful, and this was a topic 2 weeks ago. Tom Brady. Would you be accepting of Tom Brady as the next Jets quarterback?
Why would I be accepting that?
Yeah, I don't know. I gotta get Brady's thoughts here.
Here's the thing. I like him, like, as a person. I like him as a competitor. I love when a quarterback yells in, teammates' face just to get him going. And it's like, why would you listen, he leads by example. How can you not follow that guy? He'll take you to the promised land. But you know what? I'm a diehard Yankee fan, and we did bring in Clemens and Wade Boggs and Johnny Damon. And we accepted them. I did, but hey, if he had come and we win the Super Bowl, that's fine. I do like him, but I don't know, man.
The Jets fans are really split, by the way. Like, I'm looking in the comments. No to Tom, LOL, Rodgers, Brady, or bust. See, some people are on board, some people aren't. It's really split.
I've been watching. My wife's making fun of me. I've been watching the old games on YouTube. Like you could just type in New York Jets versus whatever in the year, and sometimes it's just the highlights, and sometimes it's the whole game. And they had a graphic of people that went from New England, the Jets, and back. It was like 6 players and like 4 coaches. So it's worked before, but he's the public enemy number 1, man, when it comes to a Patriot playing for the Jets.
Yeah, the only reason I could see it being even feasible is he's such a competitive bastard that he only want to do it to stick it to Bill, to stick it to his former team.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I don't know.
I wouldn't hold my breath. Yeah.
No, don't. Jets fans, don't hold your breath on that. I think it's not Rodgers or bust. It's Rodgers, Carr. You don't know who else they could think of, but I think Woody and Christopher, if the best option is Aaron Rodgers and he wants to come there, they will make it happen. I trust in that they're going to make that happen.
Yeah, same here. All right, Jets fans, we will try to come back next Monday, do one more show before the Super Bowl, maybe get into some odds. Again, jetsxfactor.com, use discount code 80, and Wayne, take us home.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we didn't do too much of a recap on the year, just the way it ended, but maybe some point we'll just do like roster construction, and we'll go over a little bit about pluses and minuses for those players and give our final grades for the year, and all 3 facets, coaching and all that stuff.
100%. We'll go through the simulator and see what Wayne would do to build the Jets this offseason.
Yeah, we'll do a lot of fun stuff, live meet and greet, giveaways. So appreciate everybody tuning in, and more next week.
All right, Jets fans, we'll catch you later.